Welcome to my channel. Today I have this set of milk carton boxes. They are stored inside of this carrier. Has this little handle here. It's quite sturdy, quite robust, and as you can see when I take the boxes out, they fit like a glove. Now this is a favorite among crafters, the milk carton. It's been around for years. You could just use this tutorial to make the cartons on their own, or add the carrier as well as an added touch. So if you stick with me, I'll show you how. Start with the milk cartons, and for that I have 4 sheets of 300 GSM cardstock, which has been cut to 8 1/4 by 10.5. Okay. And I'm going to score it on the long side, the 10.5 inch side, at 2.5, at 5, at 7.5, and at 10. Then on the short side, we'll score it at 2.5, at 6, and at 7 3/4. So 7 3/4. And that's going to give us a 2.5 inch box. I'll do the same for these other 3, and I'll be right back. Each of the milk cartons, I'm going to fold along the score lines and burnish them. So we've got this 3/4 inch tab, and we have another one over here. These score lines here in the middle. So give those a nice burnish. This is a heavy cardstock, so you might not have as heavy, so you might not have struggle at all to burnish that down. But I just want to be sure that's well and truly nice and crisp. Now, on this end here, with the tab here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wedge this out, and I'll remove these rectangles on the end. First, I'll go up the sides on these score lines here and release them. So we're going to go up to that score line there. Next one. And this one. And since we're going to take this off, go up to here, and then we can angle it, because this is going to be our glue tab. Right? We'll do the same on this side. On this side, we've got this row of rectangles that we will need to go past to that next score line. So of all 3 of these, and then we'll take this one on the end off. We don't need that. And angle that off. Alright, so we have this so far. Now, you don't need these little bits here, these rectangles. We don't need those. We only need these two here to remain intact. So I'm going to remove this one here. It just gets in the way, so take that off. And we can take this one off as well. So we're left with this configuration now. On this side, this is going to be, this one here is going to be our bottom. So we want to leave that square. You take this bit of score line there and take that bump out. But we want to keep that as it is. And then for the other three, we can actually cut some of the bulk away with a little bit of a wedge. So there and there. You can take this one off. These are going to get folded inside. And we don't want them protruding if we can help it. So take that off. And I can get the rest of that score line off as well. So there we are. Alright, so we have what looks like this. Okay, I can turn it that way. Hopefully you can see it. This is our glue tab here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we bring this in here and this over. That's going to put it inside, and we can keep it to the back. And I want it, that's fine there. So this will be the front of the box of the milk carton. Okay, with our little tabs here. While we're at it, you can go ahead and fold that back against itself as well. Okay, because it will come together like that. So let's get the glue down. And as I said, it will come over like so. So I've got my Collel glue. I'm going to put that down all along that tab. Then I'm going to simply fold this over. Spread the glue out with my bone folder and turn it over and do it from this side as well. Then I can give that a moment to dry before I move on to the bottom flaps. I have the box almost together. I've got that tab, that blue tab here at the back. So this will be my front. So I can actually just fold that back up a little bit. And I still have a little bit of score line there I want to clean up. Just a teeny bit. There we go. Take that off. And we'll take these tabs. I think I need to burnish them a little bit more. This is, as I said, very thick cardstock. So I'm going to give that a bit of a bend. And then I'll fold these down on each other and apply a layer of glue between each of these pieces. So something like this. Make a nice strong little bottom for this. I can even come on this side a little bit. Make sure that that's out to the edges. Fold it over, and then of course we get this nice smooth finish at the front of the box, and it's squared. Then we can take our bone folder, this one here I think I'll go in with, and we can just move that glue around, get it to stick properly. And now these flaps are going to go in, and this is going to form our milk carton, and then we'll close it with, you could close it with a peg, you could close it with a bit of ribbon, poke a little hole in here and tie a bit of ribbon through there, whatever you like. But we are going to be decorating that, so we'll save that for later. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3 boxes, and I'll be back. 4 of the milk cartons are now constructed, so I'm going to move those off to the side so that I can start on the tray, which is going to house the milk cartons. For this I have a piece of white cardstock, which measures 8 1/8 by 7 7/8. And on all 4 sides I'm going to measure 1 3/8. So 1, 2, 3 and score on all 4 sides. So 1 3/8, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. This is going to make a box bottom. So fold and burnish these score lines, and then we'll cut them. Cut these score lines here, so these squares on the end, and we can also cut a wedge out of those so that they will fit in nicely. Take that one out as well. Do the same on this one. And then continue on the other side. Apply your glue or your adhesive. If you wanted to use hot glue, you could. You could use double-sided tape, red liner tape. I'm going to use this Calal again. So I'm going to put it on this tab here, making sure I go right up to those edges, or near enough, because I can use my bone folder to help spread that. Bring this side up here and form a right angle, and I'm I'm going to take a paper clip here so that I can hold that in place and give it a chance to dry, and then I can go back over and go on over those tabs again. So do this one on this side, exactly the same. A few minutes to take hold, and now I'm going to go back in and use my bone folder to press those tabs just a bit more. Bring our milk cartons over and see how they're going to fit in. And we've got a little bit of give there, so you should have about a total of about 1/4 of an inch. So the other two, which will go to the back. We've got a little gap here for where the handle is going to go for the carrier. So that is our next job to do. The handle, I've used my scanning cut to cut out 2 exact pieces. Now these measure 5 1/4 by 10, I believe. Let me just double check it. Yes, 10 inches. But you could have it longer. You could have it 11 inches, 12 inches, whatever you like. But I've just decided to cut it at 10 inches. And then score it from the bottom end at 2.5 inches. Which is what our milk bottles, or the milk cartons, measure. So I've got that one. I've already scored this one. And what we're going to do is attach these together to strengthen them, and then they'll go into the bottom of this box. You don't have to cut yours out this way. You could leave it square, or you could just round the corners. You could make it scallop. You don't even have to have a shape cut here. You could use a die, of course, or you could just draw an oval or a circle, whatever you want, around and cut it out. Or you could even cut maybe a series of like finger holes, or even just tie it with a ribbon. But I decided this is what I want, and I'm going to put this together back to back. And once again, I'm going to use the Kalau, because that's going to give it lots of strength. We have these 2 pieces, which I've cut out on the scanning cut by doing an offset so that the interior of it is the same as the opening, and then it has a border around. So I'm going to glue those around that opening on both sides. It's going to now cradle inside our little carrier here. So again, we want to apply apply the glue generously on these folded tabs, and then we'll stick it inside, and that's going to make that an extra strong carrier. Now, as you can see, I decided not to decorate any of this part here. This is going to mostly be covered up by the boxes anyway, so I wanted to have, you know, a little bit more of the white showing. And it is a little floppy at the moment because we don't have our boxes in here, but we're going to decorate those as well as the tray next. Papers I'm going to be using are from the Tonic Studios paper range, the Midsummer Mornings 8x8 paper pack, and I've already used that on the oval here to make this frame, and I'm also going to be using it on boxes along with this other pattern here. And now I just need to decide if I'm going to alternate these or if I'll do them separately, and I think I'm just going to do them separately. So for the 4 boxes, which are going to be decorated, 2 in this pattern and 2 in this pattern, and then I've got these pieces for the tray, so I'm just going to put those over there for now. These pieces are cut to 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, so I've got 8 of each of these, so there's 4 for each box. And then for this part here, I've got pieces that are cut at 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. So glue these down in place, starting with this pattern, and it goes up this way. So if you're using directional paper, be sure that you have it going in the right direction, that you've cut it that way as well. So need to put that here. We're just going to have that little bit of a white border. And then I'll go to the other 3 sides. for the 2 1/4 by 1 1/2 inch pieces, and there will be 2 of these. One that goes here, and one for the other side. It looks so fresh, doesn't it? I really, really like these papers. Unfortunately, they are not making them anymore, so once this is gone, it's gone. Make good use of it. And that's one of the boxes done. The other box is getting covered in this. Now this does not have a particular direction, really doesn't matter. So I'm going to get these glued on the front and back and either side. Those are the first 2 boxes done, and I'm going to go and do the other 2 off camera because you don't need to see me gluing lots of papers, and I'll be right back. 2 boxes are decorated, and the next thing to do is to decorate the tray. I'm just going to move those to the side. Now I've got 4 pieces here. 2 of them are cut at 1 5/8 inches, and 2 are cut at 1 by 4 7/8. So the 5 1/8 inch goes here on the front or the back. It makes no difference. Okay. And then the other is going to go onto the side. I'm going to make sure those little flowers are straight up there. Right. Then I'm going to take one of the shorter pieces and place it on one of the sides. So, and you can kind of see that it's lining up with the other. Just make sure that's up the right way. And do the other 2 sides. Have these pegs here. They can be a bit hit and miss, so I've pulled out a few of them to see if they're going to hold up. Sometimes you have to go back and super glue them, but let's give them a try. I've got this little pink one here. I'm going to try and just clip onto there. Goes into our box. And we'll take take one of the stained ones here. I can see here that I've got a little bit of a score line left there, so I'm going to just tidy that up a bit. Don't ever be afraid to go back and, you know, snip off any stray bits or things like this where the score line wasn't completely cut. So that's much better now. And keep it in place. There's another one on that side. Oh dear, not. Probably was in a bit of a hurry there. So let's get these on. And then for the other side, we have these. And again, another score line. You can actually see that bump, so you know that really needs a bit of a trim. So let's get that together. Once I hold it up to the light, I can see just a little better where I need to cut. And then finally, another tiny tidy up here. One of the pegs. And there we have it. Right. So there is our milk carton carrier, and I could add something here if I wanted to, but I kind of like all that white space there. I mean, I might add a little tag if I want to gift this to someone. But it is really quite sturdy. Fits in there like a glove. These little boxes come out. And as you see, when you open them up, they have plenty of storage room inside. You could also, if you wanted to, take another piece of card and put it in the bottom if you wanted to be sure that it wasn't going to fall through. Like, let's say you had some perfume, something you want to put in there and it was a bit heavier, just to a bit of a caution. So one last score line. And that is it. Oh yeah, I hope you like that. It's not really very difficult. It was a bit of cutting, of course, and you don't have to make yours out of white cardstock like I did and then decorated the boxes. You could use pattern paper for your boxes and your decoration would essentially be done, unless you wanted to add some other embellishments, or you could use colored cardstock, whatever you like. And you could put ribbon around the edges or washi tape, anything you like to decorate it, or just leave it plain. It's up to you. Thank you once again for joining me for another tutorial, and I hope you'll come back for more. Thank you so much. Please stay safe and crafty hugs.